1.9 Trophic Levels. So our major objective is to explain how energy flows and matter cycles through trophic levels. Our first piece of essential knowledge is that all ecosystems depend on a continuous inflow of high-quality energy in order to maintain the structure and function of transfer matter between the environment and organism via biogeochemical cycles. Whew, that's a mouthful. You're going to see this is all stuff that you've learned in biology class, even in middle school already. So what's a trophic level? A trophic level is a position an organism occupies in a food chain. Well, what's a food chain? And it's interesting that College Board has food chains as one of the last units or last sections in Unit 1. But a food chain is just a feed-in relationship that's in an ecosystem that shows a transfer of energy. So as we take a look at this pyramid, pyramids make for great shapes when we're talking about the environment. At the base of our pyramid, we have our producers. They're going to capture solar energy. They're going to capture that high quality energy from the sun. They're going to fix carbon dioxide and turn it into glucose. And these guys are called our producers. What eats producers are our primary consumers, or they're also known as our herbivores. And our next level are omnivores. They have the ability to eat either the herbivores or the producers. They are also known as our secondary consumers. And we also have carnivores that just eat other omnivores, herbivores, or other carnivores. They don't touch the plant material at all. And on this side of the pyramid, it just reminds us that we have decomposers that are going to be present at all time. Biogeochemical cycles, we just had all those notes on them. Hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus. These biogeochemicals are essential, obviously, for life, to be able to cycle all the different minerals and nutrients that we see. And it demonstrates the conservation of matter. Essential to life, and its continuous flow of nutrients sustains all the ecosystems across the planet. So unlike energy, once we use it, it's gone. We have to continue to get replenished. The biogeochemical cycles allow for the recycling of organic matter in an ecosystem. And you can refer back to those individual presentations on each of those 4 cycles. In land-based biomes, as well as near-surface aquatic biomes, energy is going to flow from the producer, which is a very low trophic level, all the way up to higher levels. So as you'll see, this is a review. You'll hear this again. So our primary producers, we have in our biome and our aquatic. Primary producers capture solar energy, converts that solar energy into glucose and byproduct oxygen, and they're going to use 90% of that energy, as we'll see in later notes, to undergo cellular respiration, making 10% available to the next level. And this is an example of a food chain. A food chain that's just shown one set of feed-in relationships. The arrows point in the direction of energy flows. And both these food chains have 4th level consumers. We tend to get, once we get to 3rd level, we call everything up here high order consumers. When we go deep into the ocean, the deep ocean ecosystems tend to be more supported by Earth's internal heat, and those organisms that have undergone photosynthesis undergo chemosynthesis. Here is a great food web. This food web of the savanna is showing us our primary producers are down here at the bottom, undergoing photosynthesis, and each of the arrows represents a possible energy transfer that could happen in the ecosystem. As you can see, like for the line has many different options to get their food from. They could get it from the wildebeest, they could get it from the topi, they could get it from the gazelle, or the impala, or the hares. So they have many different options. So if one of these species became extinct, let's say, for example, the topi, they have many other options to get their energy sources, so they won't be as affected. But if you have species that are more specialist per se on the types of food they consume, we could see that the removal of a species could actually cause some of this food web to actually break down. For example, let's take a look. What do we have here? If we were to get rid of, you can say one of the producers, but producers tend to be in the greatest quantities. Let's get rid of the wildebeest. As you can see, the wildebeest is going to be consumed by many different organisms in this food chain. If this wildebeest dies off, we're going to see that all these other species have many other options to consume to get their energy from. Whereas the tawny eagle only has one other source, according to this food web, which would be the mouse. So competition is going to drastically increase for the mouse or for the mice in this ecosystem, which will then in turn have effects throughout this whole ecosystem. Decomposers or detrivores. So a decomposer is an organism that breaks down dead organic matter into the environment, while a detrivore is a decomposer that eats dead organic matter and digests it internally to gain the nutrients. So what are some examples of each? An example of a decomposer are bacteria, fungi, and our protists. Those one we typically think we're breaking down dead organisms, returning the minerals and nutrients into the soil. Whereas detrivores, they are going to pass it through their digestive system, and those are going to be your earthworms, your millipedes, sea stars, crabs, stunflies, and so on. Biomass is a term that's used quite a bit, and we've talked about in class. It's just the amount of biomass, is the total mass of that's present in an ecosystem at a particular time. We also call it the standing crop. Proportion of consumed energy that can be passed from one trophic level to another is what we call the ecological efficiency. So, like I said, when plants undergo photosynthesis, producers undergo photosynthesis, about 90% of that energy from the sun is going to be used for cellular respiration. So we're undergoing photosynthesis. That glucose that's being made is going to then in turn be used for cellular respiration. Only about 10% of that organic matter becomes part of that organism, and we see that makes up the biomass. And as we said before, pyramids make great shapes. Not only does pyramids give us what trophic level we're on, pyramids also are great. It shows us we could estimate the number of individuals. Obviously, our producers are going to be much greater in quantity than, for example, our tertiary consumers.